And we have a go for auto sequence start. Discovery's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions. Start, 2, 1, boost ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery.
Welcome to the Launchpad. I'm your host, Harry Washington, and those of you joining us for the first time, the Launchpad is sponsored by Pursuing a Dream Corporation. Pursuing a Dream Corporation is a nonprofit organization that encourages students to pursue degrees and careers in the areas of science, technology, engineering, math, or STEM. Today's show will focus on innovation in education, and our first guest for the day is Mr. Bomani Omar, edutainer.
Yes.
Welcome to the show, Bomani.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Now explain, what is an edutainer?
An edutainer, it's a word that KRS-One coined in the early 90s, maybe late 80s, basically doing education and entertainment at the same time.
Okay.
Being able to, put some medicine in with the sweet potatoes.
Exactly. And actually, you're on the show because we talk about homeschooling. You homeschool your two sons.
Yes.
How long have you been homeschooling?
For a year. I guess technically a year and a half. If you count the summers, because once you get rid of the regular school year, then you're homeschooling all the time. But a year and a half, what would have been their second grade year was their first year as homeschooling. I was their primary teacher, but their mom and I did went back and forth a lot.
Okay.
And their mom and I also like saying that we community schooled them. A lot of people in the community had parts in their education, so it worked out really well.
Now, why did you and your wife decide to homeschool?
Well, basically. There was a lot. I mean, ever since before we had children, we had talked about homeschooling.
Okay.
But because of certain things happening, we thought it was going to be impossible. But it was always, Malcolm X has a famous quote that I love: "Only a fool lets his enemy raise his children."
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure if everyone involved in the school system. I don't think everyone involved in the school system is my child's enemy, but I do think that a lot of them don't completely have our children's best interest in mind. Aren't preparing them for a world where they can be fulfilled and creative and have fun and learn and be productive citizens. And so that was always in the back of my mind. And the moment that broke the camel's, the straw that broke the camel's back was an incident that I went in randomly the school day in first grade year. It was Columbus Day, and they had a substitute teacher, and the substitute teacher brought out that in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Actually, a poem that you're not even supposed to teach in schools anymore because it's so factually incorrect.
I guess.
But evidently, I was supposed to be in the room that day to see that, to be reminded, like, wow, it's my responsibility to make sure that they're schooled. And also, I feel like my sons, I understand them. I understand their temperaments. I'm an educator myself, and I felt like I could give them the best advantage right now. So.
Yeah, what are some of the advantages of homeschooling?
Just being able to give children in-depth attention.
Okay.
Especially for my children, I think I was also running into a unique problem of having twins.
Okay.
And so they were also twins who both tested into the tag class.
Okay.
And I've met more than one teacher who did not take the time to distinguish them from each other.
Okay.
Like, I would understand, Harry, if you didn't understand them from each other, because you haven't met them yet. You meet them once, Olu's daylight, daylight's Olu. But if you've been with them all day, every day, you know what I'm saying, and you have 26, 27 other children, you can't really understand that daylight's proclivities are towards this and Olu's are that. And I thought that was unfair to them.
Good point.
But at the same time, the state of Maryland historically has one of the best school systems in the nation. And I work with the teachers and the administrators in the state of Maryland all the time. So it's not as much about the lack in the school system that I think I could probably do even better. And so I want to give my children the greatest example, advantages possible.
And let's talk about doing better. How do you establish a curriculum that best fits your children?
Sure. So it's really understanding the most important thing is that my children can read and comprehend well and have experiences to make sure they're out there. Because if you just let my sons ask questions, they can spend the whole day in school. You know what I'm saying? If you give them the opportunity to answer questions, you give them things to read. But basically that, understanding basic math skills, comprehension skills, one of the main things that we do is we're part of 2 and soon to be 3, possibly 4 homeschooling collectives. One is called Little Genius, which a whole bunch of kids, elementary school kids, get together, and all the parents come together with them. We hire a science teacher, and we do science experiments.
Excellent.
On Fridays, we do with the Sankofa homeschooling group. We do art class, we do history class, we do math class, we do chess. And that accomplishes 2 things. It accomplishes one of people's biggest fears is socialization. So they have classmates. They have people they socialize with. And then they also, it's a chance for other adults to augment the education that their mother and I are doing. And so it works out really well.
But now, what are the other myths that you've heard just in your experience in homeschooling?
Sure. Well, one of the biggest things is people tell me all the time that I'm not a teacher. In order to be able to teach my child, I need to go to school and get a degree in teaching. You need to go to school and get a degree in teaching to teach a room full of 25 children who aren't your own. You know what I'm saying? That's a skill. All these separate personalities, all these different diets and backgrounds, and that you have to deal with only for 6 hours a day. That is a educational degree skill. For you to be able to teach your child, you have to love your child and what's best for their education. You need to be able to humble yourself and understand what you don't know, and then maybe you are learning something with your child. My sons and I take classes together. We take capoeira classes together. They're actually a belt ahead of me. You know what I'm saying? And I have no problem, you know what I'm saying, joining in this learning experience with them. And then, like I said, the socialization. Now, that could be a problem. There's some people who homeschool specifically because they don't want their children tainted by other people. That's not my problem at all. My sons have been raised to question everything and to embrace everyone. So I'm not afraid of them being exposed to people of other ethnicities, other religious backgrounds, other financial stratus or whatever. As a matter of fact, in our homeschooling collective, every type of person that you can imagine is a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Both background and religion and stuff like that. But you do have to make a conscious effort to socialize your children, because if you just keep them home, you're right, they could end up that their only friends are their brothers and sisters, and you don't want that to happen either.
Now, in closing, now what advice would you give to parents who are considering homeschool?
I would suggest that you get in contact with a homeschooling collective. There's several of them in Maryland and in DC. You can find them through a whole bunch of organizations. The one I'm a part of is called the Sankofa Homeschooling Collective. I think my information is going to come up at the end of the show. You can contact me about that. Mocha Moms has a whole bunch of connections to other homeschooling initiatives. And just be aware of the laws involving. There's a whole bunch of research you can do online. There's basically someone in the state of Maryland, there's someone you have to report to yearly, and you can show them a binder of stuff that you've done with your child, just to let them know that they're moving forward. They're not even really checking to see what you're teaching them, but that they are constantly being mentally challenged, you know what I'm saying, and curriculum challenged. So it's definitely doable. It is a lifestyle choice. It's not something you can do like part-time and sort of kind of halfway. Like I map my work schedule around their school schedule, which isn't the easiest thing. But I love it, you know what I'm saying. I actually, you know, most people go to work to provide better opportunity for their children. I do the same thing, but I also want to spend as much time with my children as possible. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole reason I have them there. They're like the greatest thing that ever happened to me, so I have no problem spending all day with them.
We'd like to thank our guest, Mr. Bomani Omar. We'll be back. Welcome back. I'm your host, Harry Washington. And again, the focus of the show is innovation in education. And today we have Ms. Christine Price of Destination Imagination. Christine, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Now, tell the viewers about Destination Imagination.
Destination Imagination is an organization that brings the creative problem-solving process to our youth in the form of challenges. Teams solve challenges.
And now describe, what type of students do you serve?
We serve students, all students, K through 12. There's over 200,000 participants in 30 countries. Here in Prince George's County, we have a collaboration with Prince George's County School Systems, and we serve any student that wants to participate is able to participate. Last year we had over 60 teams from 27 schools participate in our regional tournament last March at Charles Flowers High School.
Excellent. Now how do parents get involved with Destination Imagination?
We do outreach through the county, through the county school system. We post posters, we publish newsletters. We have four information sessions in the month of October. Every Thursday I travel around the county, all the way from up north to down south, to give parents information about the program. And we also supply training for the parents.
Now let's talk about the programs. Describe the programs that Destination Imagination offers.
It is a creative problem-solving endeavor. Children form teams of up to 7 students, and they pick one of 7 different challenges. All of them involve STEM and collaboration, and they can do everything from theatrical performance to improv. We have two specifically technical challenges, a structure problem and a mechanical engineering problem, and they present the solution to their challenge in the form of a skit at our tournament in March.
Now, what is the creative process that you guys talk about?
The first is the first is to recognize. They look at the problem and they recognize what it's going to take to solve that problem, and they have several months to do it. The second is to imagine. They imagine possibilities. What can we do to solve this problem? And they're really encouraged to think outside the box.
Excellent. Now with students coming into a program like that, where it's like, definitely it's very structured, but they're forced to be more creative. How do they respond to that?
It's very open-ended, and they come up with very outlandish ideas and very creative ideas. Right. I've seen incredible skits, and as an adult you look at it and say, that'll never work. Right, that'll never work, but it comes together, and I'm talking structures, little teeny balsa wood structures that might be 12 grams and hold 1,000 pounds.
Excellent.
It's amazing.
What, and just in your opinion, what skills do you think students gain from participating in your program?
You name every skill you need in this day and age to survive in the world. Time management, the budget process, divergent thinking skills, working with teams. They learn by failure, you know, to fail and try again. It's just amazing. Every skill you can think of that you would need to succeed in today's workplace and in the college environment, they learn.
Now, and why would you say innovation is important as it relates to education?
They're going to be running this country, these children, our students. They need to be innovative to survive in the workplace and to survive in college. Right. So they learn these skills. They learn creative problem solving and divergent thinking skills, and to be truly innovative and think differently. They're going to be our next biotechnology inventors and engineering and inventors.
Any final words you'd like to share with our
Form
viewers?
A team. Form a team. It opens August 1st, and we've collaborated with the school system, and we have our first 50 numbers available to go to September 1.
All right, so September 1, parents can start signing up for your program.
They can.
Excellent.
And they can email me.
Right. I think you heard it. Ms. Christine Price, September the 1st?
Yes.
We'll be back.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Launchpad. I'm your host, Harry Washington. And again, we're focused on innovation in education, and we have a very special guest, Dr. Brian Gates of the United States Coast Guard Academy. Dr. Gates, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Washington. Glad to be here.
Now, tell our guests a little bit more about the United States Coast Guard Academy.
Well, the Coast Guard Academy is one of the 5 U.S. federal military academies. I think you have one nearby in the Naval Academy down in Annapolis.
Yes.
So we're a counterpart to the Naval Academy, but we develop the leaders and the future officers in the United States Coast Guard. We offer 4-year bachelor degrees in science in 8 different majors. We are located here in the beautiful city of New London, Connecticut, right off the banks of the Thames River. We're a highly selective institution founded in 1876. One of the benefits, and unlike the other service academies, you don't need a congressional nomination. So we're highly selective. Anyone can apply. There's no tuition, free education for the entire 4 years here, including room and board. You're going to get a tremendous opportunity to serve your country as a commissioned officer. You'll have a guaranteed job in your field of choice after you graduate for at least 5 years, which is the payback for us providing the free education for you. And many of our graduates go on to earn STEM degrees as well as attend graduate school. Many of them have the Coast Guard pay for that graduate school if they decide to remain in the service after their 5-year obligation. So we're a tremendous place focused on STEM. Of course, we like to. STEM academics is not the only emphasis of the United States Coast Guard Academy. We emphasize athletics. So almost all of our students are student athletes. We're a Division III school, and NCAA Division III school. We also focus on physical fitness and leadership and military development.
Tell us a little bit more about your STEM programs.
Absolutely. So one of our keynote STEM programs is the Academy Robotics on Water. I believe you saw that, Mr. Washington, when we met in Washington, D.C.
Yes, I did.
It's a robotics program kind of modeled after Junkyard Wars, that old show where you give the individuals you give a small team of high school students a box of parts, and their job is to build a floating craft out of only those parts that we provide to them, and they will then, in a 10 by 10 foot by 6 inch pool of water, attempt to complete a number of simulated Coast Guard missions with their craft, and they'll earn points. And the objective is to help them hone their engineering skills, but also to focus on some teamwork and communication and all the other kinds of aspects that are necessary for being a successful Coast Guard Academy cadet, but also just being successful in general.
In your outreach efforts, they focus on what grades?
So with the ARROW program, Academy Robotics on Water, we focus on K-12.
Right.
I'm sorry, we focus on middle school to high school students with that program. We do have a number of other STEM outreach programs that we institute across Coast Guard wide, so across the entire country. Those that originate from the Coast Guard Academy through our Partners in Education program, where we partner with local high schools and middle schools and elementary schools. We send cadets, most of whom again are STEM majors, out to those schools to perhaps conduct the ARROW program. We'll build bottle rockets, build popsicle sticks, bridges, other kinds of fun, engaging, engineering, STEM-related activities to give some visibility of the Coast Guard Academy to our local community, as well as to excite those kids about STEM and potentially coming to the Academy.
Now, tell us a little bit about, in terms of the individuals who graduate from the United States Coast Guard Academy, what particular STEM degrees do they pursue?
That's a great question, Mr. Washington. So we have 8 different academic majors: civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, naval architecture and marine engineering, ops research or operations research and computer analysis. That's kind of the closest thing we have to a math and computer science major. Marine and environmental sciences, which are MES as we abbreviate it. That's kind of the closest major that we would have to life sciences. We also have a government major and a management major. So again, we're STEM focused, but all of our disciplines help our cadets become better leaders. So if you earn a degree from the Coast Guard Academy, there's going to be graduate schools who are looking at you, and you're going to be more competitive than probably anyone else in the country for your skill set based on the training that the cadets receive while they're here.
How can students begin to prepare to enter the United States Coast Guard Academy?
That's another great question. So a high school student who's interested in a service academy coming to the Coast Guard Academy, I would suggest that they take as challenging of a STEM-focused curriculum in high school as possible. So if your school offers advanced placement courses or IB courses or honors courses in STEM, I would encourage you to take those courses. Step out of the comfort zone. You hear the old saying that there's no growth in the comfort zone and there's no comfort in the growth zone. So if you feel comfortable, if you feel like you want to come here, we need to see that you challenge yourself academically. Furthermore, we are all about building leaders of character and leaders being primary. So engage in your school in terms of sports. Like 70% of our last incoming class were team captains of some sport. So engage in activities at your school, take leadership positions in those schools, and build relationships with people at your schools and in your community. Another thing that we really like to see is community involvement. As you know, the Coast Guard, unlike the other military services, are focused mostly on humanitarian missions, saving people. So we like to see that you have a passion for helping others, saving others, making people's lives easier. So a little bit of community service goes a long way when we're reviewing applications for the Coast Guard Academy.
Dr. Gates, final words. When will the United States Coast Guard outreach hit the D.C. area again?
That's a great question. So we actually have a partnership with Morgan State University down there in Baltimore, Maryland. And that's through our Engineering Command mentors. They're a small group of engineering students who we work with throughout the year to do STEM outreach as part of our Mentor and Leadership Academy. So we'll be in the Baltimore area for sure sometime in the spring semester with our ARROW project. Working with Friendship Academy of Engineering and Technology right there in Baltimore.
Excellent. We'd like to thank Dr. Gates for his time. Again, stay tuned because we have a very special video for you. Also learn further about the other guests that were on the show. Watch the credits. Welcome back to the Launchpad. I'm your host, Harry Washington, and this is a special segment where we actually feature a college student by the name of Isaac Ferriby. The university he attends is Potomac State College of West Virginia. Isaac, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, provide the audience with some background information about you.
Okay, well, I graduated from high school last year, 2013, from Eleanor Roosevelt High School. Okay. Local kid from PG County. Right. I decided to attend Potomac State College because I wanted to go to West Virginia University after to pursue my career in broadcast journalism. Okay. It is on the way. I will be entering my sophomore year this fall. I passed all my classes. I'm carrying a 3.0 right now as my cumulative. And I'm enjoying my summer being home right now.
Okay. Now, let's talk about Eleanor Roosevelt. What was it like there?
I love the environment. I couldn't see myself going anywhere else. Okay. Honestly, I loved it. There were great people. I met great students, great teachers. I feel like going to Eleanor Roosevelt put me in a lot of great positions to not only meet great people, but it put me in positions to have great opportunities. I had an internship from there where I interned at the Prince George's County Office of Television Resources my senior year. And I feel like I probably couldn't have got that anywhere else.
Now, what influenced your decision to enter Potomac State College? Because that's far away. We're talking about West Virginia.
I wanted to be away from home. I wanted to prove to myself, not only my friends and family, but I wanted to prove to myself that I could be away from home. Okay. And I would be responsible enough and be able to handle the independence. And I feel like I did a good job with that. I received a very good education so far from there. Okay. I have great professors. The classes are a little small, and I feel like for right now, it was a good baby step into college. Okay. So, you know, I think the most kids I had in the class probably may have been 60, and I feel like that was the best situation for me, you know, going into college, and, you know, in the end, I feel like it was the right decision.
What high school courses at Eleanor would you say prepared you for college?
Most definitely television productions, because that is the career I plan on following. But I would say college career, research and development. In that class, I learned how to prepare a resume, how to prepare for an interview, and how to handle myself in an interview. I learned how to create a cover sheet for my resumes and stuff like that. And it definitely helped me along the way, because I feel like I'm more than just one step ahead of the game. So I feel like that was a class that definitely put me ahead of the game.
So would you say that's been a significant experience that's helped, that's made an impact in your life?
Yes, because not only was that teacher, Miss Shaw, she wasn't just a teacher for me. She became a personal factor in my life. She helped me out a lot. She went to school where my father's side of the family is from, so we had some interesting conversations about that, and she definitely helped me. That was definitely a big factor in my life.
What about, was there anyone else there at Eleanor or maybe middle school or any other grades that have helped you to get to this point?
Yes, for sure. I probably wouldn't have made it through high school without my television productions teacher, Miss McGlew. Miss Kathleen McGlew. She was a huge driving force in my success. She always made sure I was taken care of, my work was done in all my classes, and she helped me get my internship. And in middle school, and to this day, he is the man who put me into television productions, Mr. Cyprian Boulding. He does a lot of work for the Nationals, American University, George Washington University. I feel like he gave me the tools to get me started, and I feel like he was the perfect person for my situation in 7th grade and 8th grade also.
Now, even part of your experiences, you've done an internship with USA Channel 9.
Yes, sir.
Now, what was that like?
Being at WUSA 9, I met good people. Kevin Jones and Allison Frick, they were by me every step of the way, and I couldn't thank them more. They taught me how to conduct interviews. They gave me a chance to write. I am not a big writer, but it is something I am getting better at, and I'd like to credit them for helping me and giving me the tools to move forward in that direction, because I've always been told if you're going to go into journalism, no matter what type of journalism it is, you have to learn how to write and know how to write. So I feel like being there put me in the right situation also. I feel like a lot of things in my life that have happened have been situational moments. They have been things that have been a process. So I feel like WUSA 9 was a huge step in my life. I actually won a scholarship from them.
That's cool.
And that was definitely helped my freshman year. And,
That's cool.
You know, I enjoy that part of my life, you know, interacting with high school athletes and, you know, not only my own high school, but other schools around the county. It was a good experience.
Now, let's talk about, what are some of your short-term and long-term goals?
Short-term, of course, I want to graduate college.
Of course.
As of recent, I've decided that I am going to double major. I am going to major in broadcast journalism, and I am going to add public relations to my soon-to-be repertoire. So I want to graduate from college and secure an internship at ESPN. That's my
excellent.
That's my dream. That's definitely my dream. But that's just short-term. Long-term, I want to be at ESPN by the age of 30.
Excellent.
No later. No later. I want to be there by 30 at the front desk.
Excellent.
I want to be doing what you are doing. I want to be interviewing LeBron James or Adrian Peterson. That's my long-term goal, and in the end, maybe be an executive producer.
Excellent. Now, we talked briefly about, in terms of before the show, innovation. Why is innovation in education important to you?
I believe innovation is important because not every student learns the same.
Yes.
I personally struggled. I had my struggles throughout high school. I had trouble staying focused sometimes. And I feel like, you know, every kid does learn differently. So for me personally, I prefer to read. I prefer to read and take notes. Some kids, you know, do better learning from a tablet because a lot of tablets and iPads are moving into the classrooms. And I feel like that is one of the best things to happen in education, since every child doesn't learn the same. You know, every kid has a different dream, and I feel like to every dream there's a different route.
Good point.
And you can't put every kid on the same route to their different dreams.
What advice would you give any student that's maybe on the fence about going to college?
A term I hear a lot at school is school isn't for me, or college isn't for me. Because it isn't for you doesn't mean you can't finish. If you have the willpower to do it, it is something you should definitely pursue. It is not just about the education. You meet great people, you get great experiences. To be honest, there's not too many things you can compare to going to a college football game or going to a college basketball game. It's not just being inside the classroom. That's about school. Even if you don't finish, I feel like attending college is a process or an experience every kid should have. And another thing is, your attitude determines your latitude. That's something one of my favorite songs by Kanye West. Your attitude determines your latitude. So if you're negative about it, then you're not aiming very high at all. So if you stay positive, you're going to take yourself wherever you want to go.
Excellent. I'd like to thank Mr. Ellaby for joining us. Farabee, I'm sorry, Mr. Farabee for joining us. And what's that quote again from Kanye?
Your attitude determines your latitude.
And with that being said, thank you for joining us.